for joining us for Thursdays with AARP Wisconsin. I'm Amber Miller. I am the Associate State Director of Community Outreach. And we want to thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started on our topic today, which is Disrupt Aging and an amazing pilot program, just a few updates. One is we will be having some upcoming online offerings to do with technology, your iPhone, movies for grown-ups. So if you're looking for any information on our upcoming events, please visit our website at aarp.org/Wisconsin. All the updated information, of course, will be on there. We'd love to have you take some of our online offerings. And then also just a friendly reminder of AARP's Community Connections program. So if you go onto the website, you can look for groups in your area that are doing volunteer work. You could start your own group or actually join a group. And then also there's Volunteer Voices and Friendly Voice. So Friendly Voice is a program that AARP started a few months back where you can request one of our trained volunteers to call you and just have a nice conversation with you, see how things are going. In times like this, when isolation is so crucial, we want to ensure that there's resources and information for you. And AARP, of course, is here with you every step of the way. So I'm very excited to introduce our two guests today, talking about the topic of disrupt aging in the classroom, and which is a very interesting pilot with curriculum actually created by AARP Connecticut and also Borrow My Glasses. The curriculum actually dispels the myths of aging among college students and inspire innovation for any area of study. And we all know that we're aging every single day, and this pilot program is extremely interesting. And feel free also, because this is actually pre-recorded, feel free to share this on your Facebook page if your friends, family, or network would have interest in learning more about the Disrupt Aging classroom. So I would like to introduce our two guests today. So our first guest is Camille Wilson, who is the Vice President of Enterprise Innovations with AARP. So Ms. Wilson serves as AARP's strategic lead for the Disrupt Aging, the CEO's initiative designed to fight ageism and change the cultural paradigm on aging in America. So good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Amber. I'm well, thank you. So excited to be with you.
Thank you so much we love that you're here with us. And I will now introduce your co-host, which Erica's coming from Connecticut. Unfortunately, we were just having a little bit of an issue with the camera, so you'll be able to hear her voice. But Erica Michalowski is the Associate State Director for Community Outreach for Connecticut, and she has held that position since 2003. And in her role, she focuses on helping the aging population, 50 and older, with long-term care, financial security, retirement, and of course, aging gracefully. So the Disrupt Aging, we're so lucky to have you both here today. And so maybe you guys could talk a little bit about what it means, what is Disrupt Aging, and then also what is, and why is it important for us to think about aging in general?
Absolutely. Disrupt Aging, as you mentioned, it was actually a book was published by AARP CEO Joanne Jenkins in 2016, and it was really meant as a rallying cry to change the narrative on aging, right? To challenge some of the outdated beliefs that so many of us hold around aging, and then drive for solutions, drive for new ways that are actually in sync with how more people are living and aging, so that we can all feel empowered and like we have choice to age on our terms and how we'd like to. And so what started as a book that she was really putting a sentiment out into the world has evolved into a rallying cry for AARP. And 4 years later, it really has been some of the most fulfilling work that I've had the pleasure of doing. And it's resonated with so many people who do feel that the kind of the typical negative associations with aging
Yep.
don't represent their own experience, and want to be a part of a new narrative, a more positive narrative. And certainly Corona has shown us now more than ever how important it is to have conversations around how important intergenerational connections are, how we value individuals across all ages, and that all ages matter and are important to society. And that really is what Disrupt Aging is about. And 3 themes really run through this work. And one is that we can't do it alone. It's going to take people from individual, public, private to come together to really work together to change the conversations and then the systems around aging, and that innovation is essential. That we know some of our old individuals over 50, older adults, are among some of the most vibrant and thriving in terms of work and entrepreneurship and technology use. And so innovation is not just top of mind for some of our younger generations, but also across the aging spectrum. And that it's not just about people 50 and older. While AARP, we are a membership organization and we represent the needs of people over the age of 50, we know that changing the cultural paradigm on aging is going to require us all, and that to have real engaged conversations across generations, inclusive conversations, so that we can all feel empowered to live and age the way that we want. And so that's why I'm very excited that you wanted to have Erica and I here today to talk in particular about Disrupt Aging Classroom and the wonderful work that she and her team, Nora Duncan, have led in AARP Connecticut. And I believe we have a video that actually is going to show us a little bit about what Disrupt Aging is all about, and how it takes so many of us to make it work.
Great.
Before the program, aging was kind of scary.
On undergraduate campuses, I probably have a list of like this, students who want to work with children and adolescents and at-risk youth. And I probably have a list of like this, maybe 1 or 2 that want to explore working with older adults.
Students often think that older adults are cranky or, bedridden or feeble, and that's not the case.
Through the Disrupt Aging curriculum, I have seen that actually change.
And sometimes it's like, come on, you can say it, give it to me. And then by the end, they're all talking over each other.
So it was a great way to learn that you shouldn't be scared to get older, you should be excited.
They are so awed by the fact that we ask them to take out their cell phones instead of putting them away, because we actually have them do an exercise. That alone catches their attention. Now all of a sudden they're like, what's going to happen in here?
In the Disrupt Aging classroom, my students learned what is ageism, trends in terms of the growing population. They started to think about what they could do to make the lives of older adults better.
One of the things we have the students do is first come up with their own idea of, is it a program, a product, or a service? And they get so excited about it. They just can't contain their excitement because they thought of it. And then some of them are shouting, you need to patent that. So I'm thinking, we got to take these ideas and go to Shark Tank with them.
I grew up in St. Lucia and I was always taught to respect my elders. I actually switched my major because of the program. Seeing those ladies speak, I think I finally know what I want to do. I think I need to go into communication where I can advocate.
In my generation, everyone is always talking about racism and sexism and all of these problems in the world, but nobody really ever touches on ageism, which is also a huge problem. Really, freshmen should be introduced to the content. It shouldn't be an afterthought right before they get their diploma. This should be at the forefront of their education. Until you learn about it in class, you don't really realize that people are ageist. I overheard 2 students talking, and one made an ageist comment and the other was actually like, hey, like, you didn't realize what you just said, but like, that's not cool. Like, that was ageist. And the other student was, oh, I didn't even think about it. She's like, but you're right. And I don't think that before this experience that the first student would have picked up on that to even say it. That little moment for me was huge.
During the class, I had quite a few students who I thought would be haters. In the end, they loved it.
It is just amazing that they get it. The light goes on in their eyes and the light bulb over their head when they go, if I'm going to be in nursing, I do need to take some gerontology courses. If I'm going to be in law enforcement, I still need to do the same thing, as well as if I want to be a dentist. So it's just so exciting to be in a class that starts off that way, but ends with a ta-da!
When I go in there from my heart. I know that it's going to make a difference in their life. So for me, it moves me to my core, and yeah, it brings me to tears.
So yeah, that was a really great video, and it really does a great follow-up for what you said. And to me, I've been with AARP a little bit less than a year, and I read the Disrupt Aging book, and it was like monumental of it really does take a village to raise a village, and it just can't be one group of people or one organization or one nonprofit that's going to help us every day we're aging. And I think we just need to figure out a way to embrace it and support one another. So thank you. No, that was really great. And if someone is interested in purchasing the book or reading the book, where would they go to look for that?
You can still find the book on Amazon. That's the primary place that we would direct people to find it. And
Beautiful.
Yes, please do.
Great. So Erica, so I know that you are in the beautiful state of Connecticut. And so how is AARP Connecticut implementing Disrupt Aging to transform attitudes and behaviors about aging?
Thanks for having me, Amber, and love talking about this conversation with Camille and everyone. The way that we've approached this wonderful topic is in three ways. We've offered it as conversations in communities, in the workplace, and we are now offering it in classrooms. And the Disrupt Aging Classroom was designed to be implemented in classrooms where aging content is not being received. Mm-hmm. So it's really a gift for those age-inclusive champions, these professors that are on university campuses across the country, really trying to show that it's important for future generations to know about the aging trend and that people are living longer and they are a part of the economy, fueling the economy. And so this will be their customer, their client, their market, their patients. So let's have our future generations prepared to be out ahead of the curve, but also understand what it means for them. And so what we've done is we've created this pilot. We tested it in 31 classrooms, 3 semesters, 5 campuses. It's a 2.5-hour college curriculum. And what we did was we tested it utilizing our AARP volunteers going in and offering this conversation. And we did it in multiple disciplines. So we did test it in places where they already were receiving aging content. But the beautiful thing about this was the intention was to offer it in places where they weren't typically getting it. So criminal justice, business and sociology courses, social work, occupational therapy, psychology, communications classes. You saw Desma on the video there. She's now changing her career trajectory because of taking this course and her experience with her professor and our volunteers. So this really is a wonderful gift that we can give our future generations, but also academics on university campuses.
No, correct. And when I saw that this was a pilot, I got really excited because I'm a lifelong learner, but I also feel like this is a subject that isn't talked about, that isn't taught in colleges, high school. So no, I think it's great. And what results have you ladies seen from like students, professors, and the AARP volunteers so far with the pilot program?
So we do have the benefit of being able to test this wonderful project from start to finish, and we saw some significant increases in the students really leaning into this conversation. We saw that when we went in to offer a pre and and at the end gave them a post test, we saw in real time, individual level change, people wanting to socialize more with other generations. They had pleasant things about growing older, and that it was a privilege to grow old. Some of the things that really led us to know that we were really on the right track is the impact on the future thinking of these generations. And one of the questions that we asked was, how important is it for your peers to learn more about aging? And in the beginning, it was 32%, and then it went up to 53%. That was a significant jump. And then understanding that they would be working with older adults during their career, that jumped up. And then the interest in learning more about aging, significant increases. And so what we're finding is that 2.5-hour module that we offer them, it gives them the inspiration to be innovative, to think differently about aging, and to really lean in a way that makes sense for themselves. And one of the things that happened too is afterwards, we wanted to know, is this going to stay with them over the course of their time, right? So we asked them 2 weeks after, just before they were going out on holiday, what they thought about signs of ageism, and did they notice anything differently? And there was significant increase in that, and also talking differently about older adults and having new thoughts about working with older adults. So this was very validating for us, and as we now are rolling this out across the country, these are the things that speak to university professors, but also it's very empowering for those that are going in and delivering this as volunteers.
No, absolutely. If you're joining us right now, this is a pre-recorded video. Normally we are live on Thursdays. If you have any comments or questions, still feel free to put them in the comment section below. We'd love to get back to you. Erica, will this pilot program be launched into other states, or what are kind of the next steps with this pilot program?
Yes, and Camille can speak to this too. We are rolling this out as we speak. We have just trained our first 2 groups of facilitators for this, just to accomplish those goals.
That's right. And with AARP, under AARP Connecticut's leadership, we have a wonderful model that we can roll out through other state offices. And we've already identified a couple of state offices who we will hope to kick off with in the fall. We're, as Erica mentioned, she's led 2 wonderful volunteer trainings. I think one is in process this week, actually. So that's the other beautiful thing, is that given the virtual nature of education these days, when we were faced with, do we continue, because it is designed to be an in-person class experience, we made the decision that we will continue, and we'll be able to deliver it in person as well as virtually, but hopefully one day in person again.
And I do love the thought of how broad this subject could be, especially it can go into police officers, firefighters, as you guys were stating, and it really taps into our livable communities, which is how can somebody still stay in their home and age gracefully, as we say, but also knowing that the people that are taking care of them took this fantastic pilot program. So I'm very excited about it. Of course, I'm selfish and would love for it to come to the state of Wisconsin, but so whatever we need to do to make that work. So why do you guys feel, I mean, the pilot sounds great and the feedback is wonderful. So why do you feel like it's valuable for the traditional college age students? What value do you believe that this pilot and what they'll walk away with?
So I'm sure Erica has thoughts, having been in the classroom and actually delivered the content herself and seen transformations in real time. But as I mentioned, we really do want to change the cultural paradigm in this country around aging, and that's going to require people across all ages. And I love to quote Ashton Applewhite, who is an anti-ageism advocate and activist, and she often says we're all old or future old. Right. And so it would behoove us all to think towards what kind of aging experience that we'd like. But as Erica mentioned, the value of shifting perspectives around aging, especially earlier in life, at the beginning of a career, can positively impact the economy, business, and a multi-generational workforce, which is increasing. These are the realities of the times that we live in. And so it behooves us all to think about what it means to live and age the way that we'd like to.
Absolutely. And Erica, do you have any additional comments on that?
Yeah, I think, Camille, it's just such a joy to watch the students. You've been in these classrooms when the light bulb moment comes on, as Betty said in the video, where it's like they just get it. And they know that if they lean in just a little bit more, this can actually change lives. This can change our future. And when they come up to us afterwards, and this is the part that our volunteers love the most, and the professors, is they continue to want to know more. Yeah. They ask questions. So what the professors do is they build assignments in throughout the rest of the semester based on that one class. And they can also reference other populations so that aging is right there with all of the populations they need to learn about in terms of what they're studying: architecture, universal design, right? Correct. All of these things around criminal justice, around exploitation in the elderly. The sky's the limit with the topic, but to get people started, you need to just give them a space to do it. And this offers them a real easy way, in a way that they like to learn, visually, online, whatever makes them happy to be able to lean in is really what this offers to them. And it's really a joy to deliver this module.
Absolutely.
And I also think it's been wonderful to see how Erica has brought in volunteers very deliberately and intentionally, because that is also what I observed is the students are actually receiving the information from this older person who they might have had a different perspective around before having interfaced with them and received this information from them. So it's just a wonderful program that fosters intergenerational connection, understanding, and really shifts in perspective and hopefully behavior in the long term.
Absolutely. So I do know we have a website scrolling on the bottom, which is aarp.org/disrupt-aging. If someone was to go to our website, what will they find on this certain page about Disrupt Aging?
They're going to find largely stories. They're going to find stories that show what it means to disrupt aging. Some of the interesting partnerships that AARP has undertaken with some non-traditional brands around how we're working to change the image of aging. You're going to see some of the vibrant photos and images that were captured in the Disrupt Aging photo collection, partnered with Getty to have a more representative tone on aging.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I definitely encourage everybody to visit that website. And it looked like we had one more slide, which is 3 words, to describe aging.
So this is an actual activity that we do with the students. So before we even begin our module, we ask them to come up to the front and we ask them, what are 3 words to describe aging? And we do this the first part. And then after the 2.5 hours, which can be in that one day or over a course of 2 days, we ask them the very same question. And this is an actual before and after of a session that we did with, I believe it was about 95 occupational therapy students. So you can see the difference of before and after, and it's really a validated indicator for the first time in the classroom live of how they felt before and after receiving this. So the larger the word, the more times it came up.
Yeah, I definitely see, before the 2 words are the biggest are wrinkles and old. And after, so no, it shows how this pilot program really can change the mind of a younger age group. And I think that's wonderful. I love the pilot program. I see great things happening with it. And I love that AARP also AARP and AARP Connecticut were the ones that kind of led the effort. So no, this is great. So we are coming up on the end of our great weekly show, and I just wanted to see if you ladies had any final comments that you would like to share with our audience.
I do. I would just like to thank you again, Amber, for providing the opportunity to talk more about Disrupt Aging and Disrupt Aging Classroom. I also want to really thank Erica Michalowski and her leadership. Really, this is an example of innovation about what was needed in her state, and then how it could be developed, right, to be replicated in others. And so I'm glad to be a part of that and to see how we can grow this really important work in the coming year.
Yeah. And Erica, any comments from you at all?
I really have enjoyed watching this unfold, and I thank Camille for helping us take it nationwide. And any universities that are listening out there in Wisconsin, just, reach out to Wisconsin. We would love to bring it to your classroom.
And I would love that too. So I'm hoping we will make sure that our local state colleges definitely receive that. So once again, this is a pre-recorded AARP Wisconsin event. If you would like to ask any questions or make comments, please do. We still will be looking at them. We'd love to answer any questions that you may have. But I want to thank you, ladies, so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to work with my fellow associates, my AARP family, but Disrupt Aging, of course, is a near and dear topic to AARP, and I really feel that this pilot program could be life-changing, and especially for universities. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And if you would like more information on Disrupt Aging, please go to aarp.org/disrupt-aging. And then also please join us next Thursday, which will be Thursday with AARP. This will be a live show. We are going to have our guest speaker, Della Rucker, and it's all going to be about local economies and livable communities. So if you're interested in learning more about that, we'd love to have you on our Facebook live show. And if you have questions or comments, please share them below. But thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all your support and your passion to help our 50+ community.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you guys. Take care. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we will see you next Thursday.